Said final conference and training workshop, conclusions and replicability.
The first thing is to thank everybody for their participation. I'm going to be very brief. I believe the roundtable, I swear, I didn't know what the roundtable was, what Sergio was going to deal with on the table, and the conclusions have been a bit improvised between yesterday and today, starting with the meeting. Like we stated yesterday, I didn't want to provide my own vision of the project conclusions, but much more starting and working with the information that we heard today from the different participants of the project. Very fast, but I'm going to take 10 minutes to sum up again, more or less, what are the results of the project. Basically, we have spoken about it already. We have achieved running. We have been able to create a running demonstrator, and this is not an easy task. Without the partners of the project, it would have been impossible. We have an integrated DIAZ system. I believe there are not too many of them around, at least that we know. There are not too many that integrate all the functionalities that we have integrated, and we also have a communication infrastructure, which I believe is quite interesting. Briefly as well, I'm going to comment on the lessons learned, on the opportunities to improve, the opportunities that link directly with the last thing that we have been mentioning at the table. This, at the end of the day, it has a cost. The companies are here to obtain also a profit because they invest the time and money in producing this product. And at the end users, at a certain moment, if this is interesting, if it's interesting to them, they will invest money, they will pay for it. And now I will start talking about the future of the project. From an integrational point of view, I believe the project, basically, that's what it was all about. And the interesting thing is that we've been able to integrate not only software tools, but we have been able also to integrate the use for decision-taking support systems. We don't have to take decisions related energy on one hand, other decisions related to the water quality on the other hand, and the water reservoir, the dam management on the other hand. We have been able to integrate it. There are many factors in this basin. The three factors are the ones that have been taken into account, all the way up to a specific point. The water quality, basically, we have focused on salinity. However, we have been talking about emergency scenarios, and we always look in the most important one, which is flooding. But we can take even a step further. There are episodes of pollutionary episodes, which can also be included, which can have an impact in the whole basin, and that we have not dealt with. And that could be also a possibility. Well, the tools, we have seen them. Besides that, we will have the opportunity that with the end users to have a first approximation. I believe there are things that are very important for the consortium in general and for this type of project, that this is being used and that we learn and we are capable of solving the possible barriers towards the use of the system. We should all collaborate. There's lots of work and efforts invested in this. And if this is not used at the end of the day, there will have wasted public, private funds and the time of all of us. So I believe we should be capable of using it. Regarding the network, what we have tried in this project is to broaden and to test the technology using an existing network which provides very useful and necessary data for the tools. And what we have tried in this project is to look if it was feasible to broaden and use other technologies, low-cost technology, especially from a point of view of installation and maintenance. We do believe that we have advanced very much so in this project, in this on this specific issue, because we have seen sensors can be added to the stations with low-cost sensors. You can increase the intensity and the number of sensors on them with low cost. Another important point we can see in the slide, it allows the remote maintenance of all the software, the remote updating of the software. When we speak about increasing density, it's not at zero cost, or the largest cost is maintenance. If you have hundreds of nodes and we have them dispersed on the ground, if you have to update the software, it can present a great problem. It can be a great problem. So therefore, in this project, I believe we have dealt with that issue very well, and it adds value to the project. Regarding the lessons learned, one thing is quite clear, and we have seen it many times during the different interventions and the round table, and it's the integration of the different DSS and communication networks has to be managed by all the possible participants, not only the end users, but also the maintenance people. They have to tell us what are their problems with maintenance, and of course the people which are in charge of infrastructure. I believe we had a certain relationship with all of them. They've given us their requirements. The tool existed prior, and now we want to take a look at the integrated use, if it provides the benefits and that we expect from this type of this project. Another project is the need of a business model, which is the last thing that we took a look at. There's an ecosystem here, research groups, universities, public administration, which has to work so that this type of tools make sense and can be maintained and further developed. If in the end of the day, if there are no finance sources and we all have to dress it up as a research project without having a final result in its use, well, it would be quite difficult to make it maintainable. Another important thing is that the systems have to be reliable and to generate trust in those that will use it. If the people don't trust the system and the system is not sufficiently trustworthy or reliable, people won't use it. Another of the lessons learned is that we have to design in order to facilitate adaptability. We are finished with this basin, but our next step, we will have to take this to other basins, and we cannot start with zero. And something we have learned, because the tools, the energy DSS and water quality DSS, as well as the company one and flooding tools, to adapt it all and link it all up. And we have learned what are the main problems in doing so, and we hope that the methodology that we have followed will be implementable or applicable in the future. If we don't have success in this field, obviously, and if you're not capable of replicating the model as a business model, it won't have much of a future. Opportunities for improvement. Here we have some that we have proposed and that we have heard of today. Of course, groundwater exploitation, the aquifers is a basic, that's not included in the tools. It would be quite important to be able to include it. On the other hand, there's all this, the other issue about water distribution for city consumption, irrigation. There are another European Union projects which have developed in a parallel fashion. We have been upstream, and the other ones that are downstreams. So we can integrate these projects can integrate upstream and downstream. It would improve the management of the resources. Here we are also talking about integrating factors that to protect our ecosystems and to protect also our environment. You cannot only deal with the treatment of wastewater treatment independently from the rest of the water cycle. This should be included. So this way, at the end of the day, we should be able to really have in a real integrated system. And the most important for us as a project is to see or to witness that the approximation in the integration of these three DSSs work in the future. This is a challenge which still lies ahead of us, and we have to prove our success. Same way about the reliability and trustworthiness of the network. In some cases, we have been working 1 or 2 years, but 1 or 2 years is not proof of real reliability. This has to be evaluated and assessed on a longer term. Exploitation. Well, this has also come up in the round table, and the exploitation of this type of developments has to be looked up, not only from a commercial standpoint, but the exploitation, the commercialization is also important from the social aspects that it includes. If we avoid really that there are floodings or that water gets polluted, or if we improve energy management, that has a social impact as well. And even if it costs, it has a cost associated to it. From an economic point of view, it's well worth to invest in it. And the people that will have to take the political decisions will have to be the ones to take the next step. On the other hand, we have to also be able to commercially exploit and market our products, but that is quite complex because there are different SMEs, small and medium companies, are also very large companies. There's public administration involved. And in order to make it profitable from an economic point of view, the to replicate these models have to be easy, and there has to be an ideal market. And nowadays, that's not. That we have to really continue to work on it, and I believe it's quite clear from this point of view. And now the last point, the continuation project for SAID is. These are open questions, and we can work on them. We have to be able to get financing, that's clear. Simply with the commercial margins that are there, the profits that might be obtained, it will be complex. But it's also nevertheless true that we have to add value to the work and to be able to commercialize, to market our tools and to make them so that they're used and that the benefits can be seen and that the users in general can speak for them, and to facilitate that there is the creation of a stable ecosystem from a commercial point of view. The consortium, is bringing forward to present another project in a more or less immediate way and fashion, which will be based on precisely the replicas or replications of the tools of this ones and others. As an example, the other decision support systems for aquifers or other things involved for the water cycle, or urban water distribution, and to include it in different basins and in different environments. So in order to do so, we are looking for what are the most adequate infrastructures, what are the most interesting basins for us, and that all that fits within the next goal in the European Union. And of course, here we will have to look for new partners with the experience that the consortium might be lacking. Currently, the consortium in general terms has worked very well, and the project, I believe, has been able to be developed thanks to the help of everybody. I've participated in many projects, and this is one of the projects in which we have faced the least amount of problems. And even when the coordinator has undergone through a complicated situation, the project has continued without important problems. I would say even the contrary, and there's not much more to thank you again, and we do hope that we're able to continue to collaborate with you and to count on your help. Thank you very much for your attention.